The next day, as the house buzzed with the chaotic energy of florists and photographers, I felt like I was floating outside my own body. The Atlanta sun streamed through the windows, casting golden hues on the polished hardwood floors, but it did nothing to warm the ice in my veins. Relatives arrived in waves, cousins from Savannah, aunts from Birmingham, Franklin's brother from Charlotte, all chattering excitedly about the perfect match Elijah and Madison made. I nodded and hugged, my smiles mechanical, my words rehearsed. Inside, I was a storm waiting to break. Elijah moved through the preparations with the same detached precision. He helped set up the chairs on the lawn, his movements efficient but his eyes distant. We exchanged glances across the yard, silent affirmations of our pact. No one else noticed the undercurrent of tension. They were too busy admiring the rose arch or complimenting the string lights. Franklin, ever the charismatic host, slapped backs and poured mimosas, his laughter booming like thunder. Watching him, I marveled at his ability to compartmentalize. How could he stand there, toasting to his son's future, when he had been dismantling it piece by piece? Aisha called at noon, her voice clipped and urgent. I got the sample to the lab. Rush job, results in a few hours. But Simone, you need to stay calm. The wedding's in 4 hours. Calm? I whispered, slipping into the pantry for privacy. The shelves of canned goods and spices blurred through my tears. How can I be calm when my world is crumbling? Because you're stronger than this, she said firmly. Remember what Mom used to say? Storms don't last forever, but the oak that bends survives. You've bent enough. Now it's time to stand tall. I hung up, her words echoing in my mind. Our mother had been the rock of our family, raising Aisha and me after our father left for another woman. History repeating itself, ironic, cruel. I straightened my posture, wiped my face, and stepped back into the fray. By 2 p.m., the house was a whirlwind. The bridal party arrived, Madison's bridesmaids in matching robes, giggling as they sipped champagne in the guest suite. Madison herself was a vision in her lace gown, her dark hair cascading in perfect waves. She hugged me tightly, her perfume, jasmine and vanilla, cloying in my nostrils. Thank you for everything, Simone. You're like the mother I always wanted. Her words twisted like a knife. I forced a smile. You're welcome, dear. Today is about you and Elijah. She beamed, oblivious to the venom in my thoughts. Franklin hovered nearby, his eyes lingering on her a fraction too long. I caught Elijah watching from the doorway, his fists clenched at his sides. He met my gaze, nodded imperceptibly, and disappeared upstairs. As the guests began arriving, I retreated to my bedroom to change. The dress I'd chosen, a deep sapphire blue that Franklin once said made my eyes sparkle, hung on the closet door. I slipped it on, the fabric cool against my skin. In the mirror, I saw a woman I barely recognized, lines etched deeper around my mouth, eyes shadowed with grief. But there was steel there too, a resolve forged in betrayal's fire. A knock at the door. It was Elijah, already in his tuxedo, looking every inch the groom. But his expression was haunted. Mom, Aisha just texted. The results are in. My heart stuttered. And? He handed me his phone. The email from the lab was clinical, detached, paternity probability, 99.999%. Franklin Thompson is the biological father of Zoe Jenkins. I sank onto the bed, the room spinning. 15 years. A child. Another family hidden in the shadows of our life. The payments weren't just hush money, they were child support, a monthly reminder of his infidelity. How many nights had he come home late, claiming overtime, when he was playing father to another daughter? Elijah sat beside me, his hand on my shoulder. This changes everything, doesn't it? No, I said, my voice steadying. It just makes the plan stronger. We expose it all. His plan was meticulous, born of weeks of silent suffering. During the reception, after the toasts, we'd project the evidence on the massive screen set up for the wedding slideshow. Photos, emails Aisha had hacked, legally, she assured us, through public records and subpoenable data, bank statements, the DNA results. Invitations had gone out to Madison's influential family, the Ellingtons, pillars of Atlanta society, and Franklin's colleagues from his real estate firm. Reporters from local news outlets were in attendance, disguised as guests, tipped off anonymously by Aisha. But what about you? I asked Elijah. This is your wedding day. Your life. He shook his head. It was never real, Mom. I deserve better. We both do. The ceremony began at 4 o'clock sharp. The backyard transformed into a fairy tale, white petals scattered on the aisle, a string quartet playing Pachelbel's canon. Guests fanned themselves in the Georgia heat, murmuring approvals. Elijah stood at the altar, handsome and composed, Franklin beaming beside him as best man, a role he'd insisted on. I walked down the aisle on Elijah's arm, mother of the groom, my steps measured. Madison followed, radiant on her father's arm. Vows were exchanged, rings slipped on fingers. I do, they both said, lies wrapped in silk. The kiss was chaste, but I saw the flicker in Franklin's eyes, jealousy, possession. The reception tent was a sea of white linens and crystal. Toasts flowed, Madison's father praising her ambition, friends sharing anecdotes. Franklin's turn came. He stood, glass raised, his voice warm and resonant. To my son, Elijah, the finest man I know. And to Madison, the daughter I never had. May your love be as enduring as mine and Simone's. The hypocrisy burned. Guests clapped, I sipped wine to steady my nerves. Then Elijah rose. Before we cut the cake, a special slideshow. A journey through our lives. The lights dimmed. The screen flickered to life. At first, innocent photos, Elijah as a baby, Madison's childhood, our family vacations. Then it shifted. Gasps rippled as the first incriminating image appeared, Franklin and Madison at the St. Regis, arms entwined. What is this? Franklin's voice boomed, but it was too late. More photos cascaded, kisses in parking lots, hotel receipts, bank transfers to Nicole Jenkins. The DNA results flashed large, Franklin Thompson, father of Zoe Jenkins. Chaos erupted. Madison's mother screamed, "What have you done?" Her father, red-faced, stormed toward Franklin. Guests whispered, phones out, recording. Reporters surged forward, microphones thrusting. Franklin turned to me, face ashen. "Simone, this is a mistake." "No," I said, standing tall. "The mistake was trusting you." Elijah faced Madison. "You thought you could have it all. My life, his money. But you're done." She crumpled, sobbing. "Elijah, please." He walked away, head high. In the aftermath, police arrived, Aisha's doing, charges of fraud, Franklin had embezzled from his firm to fund his secrets, and bigamy whispers, though not literal, the double life sufficed for scandal. The Ellingtons disowned Madison, she fled Atlanta in disgrace. For me, divorce papers followed, assets divided. I kept the house, the firm thriving on sympathy business. Elijah moved to New York, starting fresh, his heart mending with time. And I planted new flowers, ones that bloomed brighter. Betrayal scarred, but it didn't define. In the quiet evenings, I sipped tea on the patio, watching the string lights twinkle, a survivor in my own story. But that was just the beginning of healing. The days after the wedding were a media frenzy. Headlines screamed, Atlanta wedding implodes in scandal, real estate mogul's secret life exposed. Franklin's firm fired him, clients fled. He slunk away to a cheap motel, begging for forgiveness in voicemails I deleted unheard. Aisha moved in temporarily, her presence a balm. "You did it, sis," she said one night over wine. "You reclaimed your power." Zoe Jenkins reached out weeks later, a shy teen with Franklin's eyes. We met at a neutral cafe in Midtown. I didn't know, she whispered. Mom said he was a friend. I hugged her. Your family now, if you want. She did. Holidays included her, a tentative bridge over ruined waters. Elijah dated again, cautiously. Thanks to you, Mom, I know what real love looks like. As for Madison, rumors placed her in Miami, waitressing, her architecture dreams shattered. Years passed. I remarried, a kind accountant named Marcus, met through work. Our wedding was small, intimate, in Savannah's squares. Looking back, that fateful morning reshaped us. Pain forged strength, betrayal birthed truth. In Atlanta's humid embrace, we rose from ashes, unbreakable.